Street photography has been a big part of my life for a very long time. I started by photographing the streets where I lived and the people that I grew up with. I will photograph anything and everything on the streets. But when you add people into the mix, then it becomes a passion for me. In this episode, we will take a look at street photography using Camera Legend cameras. What is going down, you awesome, Ozempic-loving, humanoid camera geeks? Now, who was that guy that always said humanoid? Bobby the Brain Heenan. Any of you guys remember him? He was a genius, right? All right, well, today is an episode that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I've hesitated on it because this channel has been mostly gear-centric, and I admit it's my fault. I accept responsibility because I dedicated this channel to the greatest camera legends of all time, as I always say, and we will continue to do that. But today I want to talk to you guys about actual photography. I want to show you guys, how I actually use these Camera Legend cameras on the streets in action, okay? Because I think that when it comes down to it, as far as I'm concerned, for me, and I believe for most of you guys, we got into this not specifically for the camera. We didn't start out as camera-loving junkies. We started out because we started out as photographers. We started out as people who loved to take pictures, all right? So in this episode today, I'm going to try to keep it short. I want to talk to you guys about capturing the moment in street photography. Now, disclaimer, I'm no expert in street photography. I've been doing street photography since probably the mid-1990s, but in no way do I consider myself an expert or a master at it. I feel like I'm still learning, and I think once you consider yourself a master at anything, you stop learning. All right, I still have a lot to learn, and today I want to learn from you guys as well. So let's take a look at this first photo. This is probably one of my favorite moment capture on the streets of New York City. The camera that I used, the camera, of course, is everybody's favorite digital rangefinder. This is the Epson R-D1, and the lens that I had on it that I used for this photo is the Leica 50mm f2 Sumar. Right now, this is a nice vintage lens, vintage Leica lens that you can get for fairly cheap. Usually they go for about $200 or so, but it's got a few caveats. It's not the easiest lens to work with, and they almost always have a bunch of issues because they're older. Alright, so as they say, every picture tells a story. Alright, so in its basic form, what you're seeing here is a man and a woman sitting on a park bench. But if you look a little closer, you'll see that the man has a calm, cautious, and maybe even a little mischievous demeanor about him. And you'll notice that the lady has a strange, perhaps disturbed gaze in her eyes. The whole picture actually looks a little bit bizarre. Alright, so let me tell you guys the story behind this photo. I was down in a park in Manhattan. I spotted a lady sleeping on a park bench in this white dress, and she looks to me to be like a performer or a stage performer, something like that. But she appeared to be taking a cat nap, so I thought this would be a great photo. Let me go and take the photo. All of a sudden, a man comes and sits on the bench, and my first thought was, hey buddy, you're ruining my photo. But then I noticed that there was another man right next to me trying to take the photo too, and he's telling the other man on the bench to move closer in Spanish, and I quote, amigo, acercarse. And so when I realized what was going on, I said to myself, wait a minute, this might be the photo. So I just stood my ground and I was taking the photos as well. I didn't even speak to the other guy. And when I took this shot, this is basically the moment when she woke up. So here in recap is the whole picture. And as they say, every picture tells a story. And so now that you know the story, I think you get a better understanding of why there are such contrasting facial expressions in this photo. Now, I do understand the whole question of ethics. Was I right or was I wrong in taking this picture? Let me know in your comments. All right, so now I would love to get your input. Would you have done anything differently? Would you have stayed to take the shot? Would you have taken one shot and walked away? Would you have not taken the shot? What would you have done? Would you have stayed to be possibly yelled at? What would you have done? As for me, I just, once she woke up, I think she had a little exchange with the other fella, so I was out of there. I mean, she didn't say anything to me. So anyway, that was one of my favorite actual moments, because the story behind it was a little bit bizarre. So in my opinion, some of the most satisfying street photography for me are moments, when you're capturing the moment. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that many times, and I think a lot of street photographers will tell you this, many times it's not like you come upon the situation and then you just caught that moment. Many times is you see a situation happening and you wait for a moment to happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But you got to use your street instinct. You got to use your street sensibility, your street instinct to tell you that something may be happening here, something might be interesting here, and I'm going to try to capture it. All right? So how do you go about capturing the moment in street photography, or just photography in general? The only way to do it is practice. Now, I think almost every street photographer recognizes this photo from Henri Cartier-Bresson, the master of the moment. And I really don't know how he did it, but there's a very good likelihood that he saw this boy running around. He probably analyzed the whole scene, and then he anticipated and captured the moment. And as you can see here, in what is an obvious Bresson-inspired photo, I was at a party, the kids were running around, and I said, let me try to get a shot. And even though I wasn't thinking about it at that moment, I think subconsciously the masterwork of Henri Cartier-Bresson was in my head when I took this shot. And I was just lucky that it came out this way. And even though this pales in comparison to the masterworks of HCB, I was happy with this shot because I liked the way it came out, and I was inspired, I guess, by his works. And let's face it, guys, any shots that you see of kids running and jumping in a similar fashion, you're always going to think of that iconic shot from Henri Cartier-Bresson. And that is the enduring legacy of the legendary HCB. His ability to capture the decisive moment has inspired and continues to inspire generations of new photographers. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really appreciate having you guys watch and to look at something different. If you guys like this kind of content more on photography, let me know in the comments. And if you do enjoy this content but you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing and helping me to grow this channel. I got a lot more in store for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, as I said once again, because it really helps the algorithm put out videos for this small channel. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate you guys. And until the next time, let's take a beautiful street moment image of you guys using the Epson R-D1 and the Leica 5cm f2 Sumar at the count of 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And I will catch you guys next time on the cameralegend.com YouTube channel.